Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. Let's get into the stories, but first, let me remind you that we do now have write-ins. If you have your own crazy story, I know I've talked about this before, but I just want to set a little reminder. That way I get some more. I have a write-in column, and I also have a call-in column. That way you can speak if you want to, but just know if somebody recognizes your voice, okay, that could come back to haunt you. I'm just warning you. But if you are going through something, you have a funny story, something from the past that you feel like fits this pod, please leave it in the form. Okay, let's begin. Our first story is, am I the asshole for boarding the plane and leaving without my wife? My wife, 43 female, and I, 47 male, have a daughter, 21 female, who goes to college out of state. We will call my wife Meg and my daughter Jess. Jess is in her junior year of college. Over the summer, she was employed by her university and was able to stay in the dorms. After the summer, she was moving out of the dorms and into her own apartment off campus. Meg and I live in the PNW, which I believe is the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, essentially, I think. Jess goes to school on the East Coast. We usually go to visit Jess a couple of times throughout the semester, typically parents' weekend and move out day. She also comes home during the holidays. Let me start by saying that traveling with my wife is not a great experience. I am very type A. I like to have everything organized and make sure that we get where we need to be early, especially when traveling. Sir, I am like you. I am that way as well. My wife, on the other hand, is the opposite. Very go with the flow, and we'll get there when we get there. I do my best to meet in the middle, but not when traveling by plane. Last year, during Parents' Weekend, Meg and I were going to fly out to see Jess. Our flight was at 10 a.m. Our airport isn't huge, but not a tiny airport either. I told my wife that we needed to be at the airport 90 minutes early, and we live about 30 minutes from the airport. This being said, I wanted to leave at the very latest by 8, since we would also need to park and walk a little bit. Okay, I'm understanding. I totally understand what he's saying. I feel like it is important. I hope that he told her we are leaving by 8, which I do know that these kinds of people still have a hard time following time. Oh my gosh, do you guys remember on TikTok when there was that girl who was like, I have time. Oh my gosh, what was that? Time blindness. Okay, there was a girl who got on the internet and was trying to get sympathy because she has time blindness. It's a sort of disease that you can have, which I understand that there are things like ADHD and so on and so forth, but let's be so fucking for real. I'm not buying it. But there are these types of people, you can tell them 8 o'clock and they're still late, which is honestly so beyond me. I don't understand how that happens. I'm the person that even when I'm 15 minutes early, I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my God, I should have came here 5 minutes earlier than the 15 minutes I'm already early. Even getting close to being on time to something, if we're driving and we hit traffic, which I always allot for 30 extra minutes, but in the off chance that I'm with somebody who runs late and I'm with them and we're trying to get somewhere and we're about to be late or right on time, that shit stresses me out. So I side with the man in this instance, just so far. Okay, you get what I'm saying? I, of course, got up at 6 a.m. to make sure everything was ready and accounted for. My wife does not like to get up early. It took me attempting to wake her up 5 times before she eventually got up at 7:40, then wanted to make a coffee, shower, and eat a bowl of cereal. Let's just say that we didn't leave the house until 9. Oh my gosh. No, this actually, I feel like when looking for a partner and compatibility, this is important. I think you have to be with somebody who is like you, either being early or being late, which those people who are constantly late, those just sound like shitty people to me, because can you imagine if this girl had her equivalent as a man? They would never be on time to anything. They would miss everything. Me and Carter are both early people. And I feel like that needs to be something that you think about in a partner, because that would actually drive me insane. Like, that would actually make me hate my partner. I can't describe the feeling inside that I get when I'm like late or behind schedule. It is like the worst feeling I can imagine. Oh my gosh. One time in a previous relationship, we were meeting people on a boat to go on a lake. And I think honestly, it wasn't necessarily my partner at the time's fault. I think we just didn't really know how long it was going to take and the traffic to get to Louisville. And we got there like right on time and I was fuming. Like, I don't think we spoke in the car, and it was a long drive. It was like 30 to 40 minutes. But once I put it in the maps and it was saying what time we were going to get there, I'm fucking pissed. I'm stressed and I'm anxious. I'm not kidding. I could not date somebody like this, or especially marry somebody who is late to everything. No, you left the house at 9. Your flight is at 10. The airport is 30 minutes away. And I've gotten a lot better about getting to the airport not super early. Like when I was new to flying, when I first came to Dallas was when I really started flying for the first time. I was always 2 hours early because that's what I number one thought coming from North Dakota and having never flown. That's what you heard. So I'm like 2 hours early. And then I got practice. I'm like, okay, that's so unnecessary. And then I got TSA pre-check. And I have a happy medium. Carter is still like my old self. Like he would rather get to the airport 2 hours early, even though he hates the airport. But I get that. So I will never argue with him on that. I would a million times out of 10 rather be a million minutes early than even on time. But I could not marry somebody like this. Like I would be foaming at the mouth. You didn't leave till 9 a.m. Like I'd be screaming. How did you even let that happen? Like I would have them put their bowl of cereal. And that's what also bothers me. Like, I understand if you wanted coffee and cereal and that fucking sucks, but then you should have woken up earlier. Like, take account of the time. To me, it's immature. To me, it's just like, how were you not able to like think ahead and plan for that? You know what I'm saying? That shit makes me so upset, as you can tell. It ended up being busier at the airport than normal, likely due to many colleges having Parents' Weekend, and it took so long to get through security that we missed our flight. I've never missed a flight, and I will never miss a flight. That would drive me absolutely insane. Oh my gosh, I actually almost missed a flight. I'll tell this story on Friday's episode about my JSX flight. Oh my gosh, which I'm not going to get into that here because we'll be here for another 30 minutes. But you missed your flight? No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding when I say divorce, but like, that shit is so not okay with me. Rightly so. The airline refused to refund our ticket. We were able to get new tickets, but not until the next day, and missed Friday afternoon and Saturday morning with our daughter. Jess was disappointed, to say the least. Oh, that's so sad. You just have to like get your wife under control. And I know that like sounds really bad coming out of my mouth, but really like he should have just said, no cereal, put the coffee in a to-go mug, and let's get the fuck out of here. Like, how does that even happen? I don't care who it is. If I was like dealing with a family member or Carter or anybody, I would like literally, I would do anything to get them in that car and get going. Like, I'm sorry. You just can't let that happen. Fast forward to now. We were flying down for a long weekend to help her move. We take one flight from our town to a bigger town nearby and then fly from there to my daughter's college town. Again, it was a long morning of me pushing my wife, getting her to move along. Due to the last airport mishap, I wanted to make sure I told her we needed to leave extra early as to not miss the flight again. We got there on time with a bit of time to spare, and my wife was annoyed, kept going on about how now we just have to sit and wait for 45 minutes for them to start boarding. Yeah, but bitch, do you not remember missing the flight? Do you not remember when we missed the flight? And this is the thing, like I always say hierarchy, but like the level of importance on these things, like you missed a literal flight and lost out the money on that flight and missed part of daughter's fucking weekend or parents' weekend with your daughter, but you're gonna sit and whine and moan about being 45 minutes early? Read a fucking book, scroll TikTok. Literally, I get it's not the best. Airports suck, but like when we're talking about complaining about one thing or the other, like you missed a literal flight and time of which you could have been spending with your daughter, but you're going to complain about sitting for 45 minutes. Like that to me also just doesn't make sense. But I think the people like this, we have very different brains because like I just cannot understand that. Okay, we took our first flight and landed in the connecting city at a much larger airport. We only had about 1 hour layover. We got off the plane at 9:15 and our next plane started boarding at 9:40. We had to take multiple rails to get there, where we landed to our terminal. We got to our terminal and had about 15 minutes until our plane was set to board. My wife tells me that she wants to get a coffee. There was a little market next to our terminal that sold hot coffee and food. I asked if she wanted me to go grab it for her, and she said, "No, I want Starbucks." Well, Starbucks was a rail ride away and a little bit of a walk. I told her we couldn't do that and we didn't have enough time. She stated that we had enough time, and if I wouldn't go with her, she would go by herself. I tried to discourage her, but she was determined. She walked away at a brisk pace for her, and she said that she would be back in time. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't be losing my mind if I didn't already read the title of this thing. Oh my, what is this called? Now I'm starting to think that maybe time blindness is an illness. Maybe it actually is, because there is no fucking way that you are a normal person and you act like this. And I get it. Sometimes people like think I'm a hardo. For example, oh my gosh, I was on live one time and I was talking about money, and me and my partner share finances. Obviously, we're getting fucking married. And I was talking about how Carter likes to buy nice things. And somebody was like, well, isn't it his money too? And I'm like, I get it, but like also, okay, how did I get here? Oh, I was talking about being a hardo. It's just like, sorry, I have these opinions. And like, I get it that sometimes you want something, like you want the Starbucks instead of whatever coffee was there. But it's like, you have to take account of the situation that you're in. Okay. And be like, oh yeah, probably not the best. Probably don't have time. Even if I do think I have time, go get this coffee. I understand it might not be what you want, but sometimes you just gotta like do those things. And this goes back to like Carter. You know, I get that he wants nice clothes and that's valid, but the financial situation that we're in with student loans, like not super feasible. We don't need to buy all of the nice clothes right this second. I get it, and I'm there for the quality, but like, you know, you just gotta weigh the things on the palms of your hands and go from there. And the Starbucks, wanting of the Starbucks, because here's the other thing about Starbucks and airports, they always have a fucking line. And the fact that it was far away, like, why is she, oh, I could not be married to somebody like this. No offense. Okay. 15 minutes went by and she was nowhere to be seen. They started calling boarding groups and I called my wife hoping that she was nearby, but she didn't answer. They called a few groups and then called ours. In a panic, I called my wife again 3 times. Finally, on the last call, she answered and said she was on her way. It was a long line and she had to wait a bit. How is she so oblivious? Oh my gosh. Oh my actual gosh. And I know so many of you will relate to me right now and so many of you will not, but like the obliviousness, like the lack of, it's not self-awareness per se, but like it literally, like my skin is itching. Like I just, this shit, like this is probably, if I had a pet peeve, I don't even think this is a pet peeve. I think this is literal rage. I don't know what you call that, but like this is mine. Being late and like the being so unaware. No. Oh my gosh. How were you so unaware? Like you should have seen the line and then went back and got the coffee. Like I just cannot understand that. Is it dumbness? Is it being a fucking idiot? Because that's where my head goes. Like you have to be dumb to not be able to tell time and understand your surroundings and know like you have a flight to get, like I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I told her that they were almost done with boarding and that she needed to hurry up. I waited by the gate, but the attendant said that they would need to shut the gate in 2 minutes. I waited and waited, but she didn't show up. The attendant asked if I wanted to board, otherwise she was closing the gate. I tried to plead with her to wait a couple of minutes, but she insisted that she couldn't. So I boarded the plane. Yeah, because what else are you going to do? Fuck your wife. I'm sorry, like, oh my gosh. Even just the thought of sitting there with a flight attendant that's saying they're closing the gate and you're like waiting on somebody, that would send me into a literal tizzy. Okay, holy shit. A few minutes later, my wife calls me saying that the attendant won't let her on. They had already removed the boarding ramp at that point, and she told me that I needed to tell them to let me off the plane to be with her, and I said no. It is not fair to do this again to Jess. I said I told you we didn't have time, but you decided to go anyways. I told her to go purchase a new ticket for the next flight, and I would see her when she arrives. I mean, I stand behind everything that he has done and said, but like, oh, if I were her, which I would never fucking be her, but if I were her, I would be livid. I mean, like, not livid because it is her own fault, but like, oh my gosh, you missed a flight. Wait, can I tell you a really quick story? Carter was flying home to me and I picked him up and he was like, you will never believe what happened when I was sitting waiting for my flight. He said that he saw a woman sitting literally the closest seat to a boarding place as possible. Like, it wasn't his flight. Obviously, it was one before, but he was there so early. Like, here's the boarding. You know how they have the desks, then they check you and then you go on? Like, the closest seat to it, like staring maybe 3 feet away, there was a woman. She was on FaceTime. Okay, she was talking to somebody. A flight was boarding. It closed, the door shut, the plane takes off or like is leaving the gate. The woman, okay, hangs up her FaceTime call, looks up, runs to the desk. That was her flight. She was literally sitting there, the seat, like all of these people are passing her, but she was literally on the FaceTime call, not paying attention. The whole flight boarded. They're on the intercom. They do the whole thing. The gate left. The plane is pushing off. She gets off the call. She looks around. Gone. She missed her flight. I'm like, what? That is like the craziest thing. He's like, I watched it all happen. He's like, obviously, he's like, I saw her on her phone and I just thought it was weird that she was FaceTiming and she was so close to the desk. Like, if you had time to kill and you were like on a FaceTime call, why wouldn't you just go sit somewhere, you know, where there's no flight? But then he's like seeing it, you know, he's like, I never assumed that that would be her flight because she was so oblivious. But then he was still there when like it shut and she like ran up and she was like pleading with them and they were like, bitch, what? And they obviously had seen her sitting there, but they also didn't know that it was her. Oh, I just like, what? I cannot even understand that. Later, when she got to Jess's school, she seemed unbothered by the whole situation and didn't even really talk about it. I thought maybe she realized that it was her fault and just wanted to drop it. Boy, was I wrong. We are now home and she hasn't talked to me since the trip over a week ago, and she's insisting that I'm an asshole. So Reddit, am I the asshole? No. How about we start a new trend here where when I answer, am I the asshole? If it's like a really good, strong, solid no, I give you my best ballad. Okay. No, he's not the asshole. What are we talking about? Absolutely not. He gave you so many warnings. He told you when to leave, so on and so forth. It's the problem is she is this type of person. It is an illness. Now I'm actually kind of convinced that it has to be an illness of sorts because you gave her so many heads up. You told her, you pleaded, you did everything you possibly could. And she just straight up didn't acknowledge, didn't care. I'm having a hard time. And this is where I struggle. I don't understand where the disconnect is. Like, is it not listening? Is it not caring? Is it thinking that you have more time? Is it due to incompetence? Is that what it's due to? Or I bet it's different for everybody, but that's where we need to nail down what the issue is and how this happens. And then you go from there. But no, he is not the asshole. And as for a solution, I think you, in all aspects of your life, when you're going somewhere, you just start having a hard deadline. You say, we're leaving at 7, and the bus leaves with or without her, because I don't know how else she'll learn. Like, you've probably held her hand for a very long time. And if you're dealing with that type of person, I understand that's hard, but like, it's affecting your life. And I feel like that's the only way she'll learn, which it's crazy that you have to teach a person that, but I feel like that's the only option. Okay, next. Am I the asshole for throwing my boyfriend's performance report of our relationship out? So, I, 27 female, have been living with my boyfriend, Mark, 29 male, for 3 years. We live together in a small apartment, nothing fancy, but it works. Anyway, Mark's always been a bit particular about stuff. Like, he folds his socks into these little balls and gets all weird if I don't. Whatever. I deal with it because I love him, you know? There are some people that are really good storytellers, and I can tell this is going to be one of them. Well, maybe I just think it's a good storyteller because they're funny, but you know, the little pizzazz, like not so formal. I love that. Well, recently he's been on this kick about optimizing our life or whatever. He watches these YouTube dudes who say dumb stuff like your partner should add value to your existence. Okay, wait, I'm not going to finish that sentence because that's not dumb stuff. Let me just make that clear. She's talking about me. And relationships are about ROI. Okay, well, I mean, I agree with the core. It's crazy to say ROI, but like, yeah, no, I do believe that your partner should add value and that it should be your partner should add to your life. And like, this is what every successful man that I know that has a wonderful wife, AKA nanny fam, AKA my friend Garrett's parents, the men are always like, the best decision I ever made was marrying my wife because she, you know, supported me. She allowed me to do all of this work and become successful and take care of the kids. Like, oh, Carter's parents, his dad praises his mom up, down, left, right, center, and is like, my world would not revolve without his mom. Like, every single good man and good relationship that I know, the man believes that because it's true, because it's fucking true, because the women add the best value in a man's life. Okay, let me just get that clear. But anyways, let's keep going. So last week we were eating dinner and out of nowhere he goes, I think we need to have a performance review for our relationship. I'm like, a what now? He says, it's like at a job where you check in and see if things are going well or need improvement. I honestly thought he was joking, so I laughed. Big mistake. Okay, like, that's crazy, but I also kind of do like the idea of a performance review. There's going to be people that are like, bitch, what? Not like a crazy in-depth one, but I think check-ins just to see how like you're feeling, not to like judge the other person, but just like your finances, like where you guys are headed, your individual, like those sort of things I think are really good. I think it depends. We'll keep going and see like what he meant, because yeah, if he comes in left, right, and center and just like judging everything that she does, no, I'm not saying that, but like as a team, you know what I'm saying? I believe in that. Well, he pulls out a folder, a legit actual folder with papers in it. This man wrote up a whole list of stuff I need to improve on, like I'm a bad employee or something. He's like, you've been slacking on cooking meals and I feel like your gym attendance is inconsistent. Also, you don't fold my socks the right way, which shows a lack of attention to detail. Break up with this man. What? Oh my gosh. Again. Okay. I believe that as partners, we keep each other accountable, but your gym attendance is lacking. Who the fuck is monitoring my gym attendance? If I think that's an issue, I'll speak to you about it, but how fucking dare you? Oh my gosh. And cooking meals? Why don't you cook, you bitch? If Carter came to me, oh my gosh, like I can't even put myself in these shoes, and like said those things. And the socks, and I've said this to Carter, like there are certain things that he's particular on. I'm like, okay, then you can handle that. Like there are only so many things that I'm willing to do. I do a lot for us, for you, but like these particular little weird things, I'm like, if it's an easy quick fix, but for example, which we will have talked about this on the Friday episode, the jeans, the not washing of the jeans. If he wants to spot wash his jeans and not put them in the washing machine, be my guest. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not adding a stupid chore like that when I would just throw it in the washing machine. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I stared at him like he grew a second head. I said, "Are you doing a performance review on me?" And he's like, "Yes, but don't take it personally. It's just about making sure we're both putting in 100%. So I asked, "Where's your performance review?" And he blinks at me and says, "Well, I don't think that's necessary because I'm already doing a lot." No, I would say, okay, give me a few days to put together a performance review. I would love to break it down for you. Oh my gosh. So I snapped. I said, "Mark, I'm your girlfriend, not your employee. And if you want 100%, maybe try being 100% boyfriend first." I grabbed the folder and threw it in the trash. He got mad and said I was being emotional and not open to constructive criticism. Now he's barely speaking to me and says I embarrassed him by overreacting. His best friend said I should have heard him out because it's a unique approach to a relationship. But like, am I crazy here? Am I the asshole? Nope. No. That was a very normal response. Oh my gosh. And here's the thing. Yeah, if you want to do performance reviews, pop the fuck off. I'm not going to shame somebody for that, but like you also get one. I'm also going to call you out. I'm going to say the sex has not been good. You don't do a fucking thing. You don't even do the laundry. You don't even cook. Where's that action? Yeah, I'm doing all of these things. And it just goes back, like, I don't mean to take it there, but like disrespectful. You're just talking shit on your girlfriend. Like, it's one thing, you know, if Carter was slacking in an area of our relationship, I would have a conversation and I would never. It's also about the way you speak to somebody and the tone you use, because we're going to go through life and there are going to be things that make me unhappy and upset and so on and so forth. But like the way that you attack that is not saying that you did this and you need to be better about this. It's like, hey, I've noticed recently that like whatever the thing is, we haven't had anything that jumps out in my mind, but like, you know, I would love if you did it this way, or I would love if you didn't do that, or like it hurts my feelings this. And as my loving partner who cares for me, he would say, "Done." Okay, because that's the kind of person he is and because he loves me and cares for me. Like if you are just dating a person and they're already nitpicking like all of these things, like fucking folding the socks in a particular way or the cooking or going to the gym, what, are you my manager or are you my partner? And again, like there are things that there are hints of like validness in, like I like the check-in idea, but it's not like sit down and like attack your partner and say all of the things that they're doing wrong. And I feel like the people that are that way and would attack another person and say all of their faults or what you think are their faults is a you issue. I feel like you're insecure, because I would never do that. And also, if like there are multiple things that you're unhappy with your partner that they're doing or not doing, I always like go, and I hate to be like so positive breakup, but I think so many people are just with the wrong person. If you dislike or despise multiple things that that person does, do you like that person? Like, I'm just asking the honest question. I think a lot of people are with people that they genuinely don't like. Like, if there are multiple things that your partner is doing coming from his perspective, like I'm talking to him right now, if there are so many things that you don't like the way that she does, or she's not doing enough, or you need this, this, and this, like, do you genuinely like her? Because like, I would argue that you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, some critiques are valid and I get it. And then others, I'm like, okay, one critique is one thing, but like multiple, I don't know. If that's just your boyfriend, yeah, I would think twice about continuing to date that person. And not only for the fact of like, whatever, if he's valid, like if you self-reflect and are like, oh yeah, he's right. It's like, again, the way you go about it, the attacking nature of it, the performance review, and also you can't give him one back. No, I'm sorry. Absolutely not. I think what you do in this scenario is you write up a performance review if you're still with him and rip the shit out of him and give it to him and say, how do you like that? And see what he says. And if he's open to your constructive criticism, okay. But still, yeah, I wouldn't stay with this man. I just don't like that he did that in the first place. Next. Oh, this one, you guys, it makes me sad because at first, like, I kind of was on the guy's side, not on his side, but I was like, oh, that's believable. And then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, bitch, you honestly might have been cheated on in the past because you don't see all of the red flags. I, 30 female, found some stuff on my partner's 30 male computer. He says that he was hacked. Hi, my partner, 30 male, and I, 30 female, have been together for over 5 years. We live together, have a house, a dog, and actively talk about marriage and kids. But last year, while I was using his computer to print something, I found some concerning emails that he sent, which led me to search his whole computer. Our printer is really old, so we have to email the printer's email address to print our stuff. I've had to do that before at a Pilates studio I opened, and it was so fucking annoying. Okay. I forgot the address, so I went into my partner's computer to find it because I knew he had recently printed some things. I found in the sent folder old emails from dates ranging from a year or two ago to Hinge and Tinder support asking why his account had been banned but signed off with the name Trent. My partner's name is not Trent. Oh my gosh. Again, I hate to always do this, but like I have to put myself in their shoes and I need to quit doing this. Like we'll be watching a movie and somebody will be cheating and I look over at Carter and I'm like, if you ever do that, and he's like, babe, we're not these characters. I'm like, I get it. I just like, that must be something that I do that I'm not sure everybody does. I always put myself in the shoes. If I found emails from when we were together emailing Hinge and Tinder about their accounts, oh my God, I'd be losing my mind. This made my stomach drop. I then tried searching his computer, Facebook, Instagram, and any other web-based applications to see if this was weird or actually something. I couldn't find anything from the usual cheating routes, and I didn't have access to his phone. I then checked his downloaded apps from his Google accounts and saw Tinder, Hinge, burner phone apps, and Tinder Gold subscriptions. Oh. Fuck. Oh my gosh. You've been together for 5 years. You live together. You have a house, a dog, and you talk about marriage and kids. Oh, that makes me so sick. I took screenshots and confronted him. When I said we needed to talk, he thought I had found the engagement ring. When I showed him, he seemed really confused by my screenshots and my accusations that he was cheating. He got really concerned and says that he knows it looks really bad, but he honestly wouldn't think about cheating and he had no idea his accounts had been breached. The thing is, he has given me no reason to think that he's cheating. He's a homebody and he's either at home or gymming at home. He's shy around new people and doesn't really open up until completely comfortable. I was the first one to hold his hand. Wait. Okay. Oh my gosh. However, I can't seem to shake this even months afterwards. I still think about it almost every day. I keep thinking that he maybe is taking me for a ride or lying to save face. He has really small behaviors that I didn't notice, but now I pick up on, like never leaves his phone or new hobbies like golfing. He did shut down that email account and got a password manager for our household. He hasn't love bombed me. he just keeps saying, I really don't know what to say. It looks bad, but honestly, I didn't cheat. I just don't know how to move past this or feel like I can 100% trust him. I have a lot of doubts now. I was wondering if anyone knew if hackers did this or if they had advice on how to build the trust back up. When I first read that, you guys, I was like, he's probably being honest. He's a homebody. He never leaves. You've been together 5 years. Like, the good person in me wanted to believe it, but like the applications having Tinder Gold subscriptions and Hinge and burner phone apps, which I will say, like, for example, when you go into your applications, you know how you can download, and it's like it has a different button from download if you've never had the app before, and apps you've had before, it has that little cloud with the arrow, like it knows that it's been downloaded. So when you look up like Hinge on mine, it shows that it's been downloaded before. Like, it's not on my phone now, but it has that little cloud situation. So on one hand, I was like, maybe it just shows that because he's had it before. I would pull up his bank statements and see if he's had the subscriptions recently, because like, how would you not notice that? Like, that to me would kind of be the nail in the coffin. But yeah, email sent, but it is weird. And obviously, like, if he is cheating, he's covering his tracks using a different name. That is also odd that he's like, I know it looks bad, but I would never cheat, or I didn't cheat. It's also weird, you know, because I feel like if he was cheating or being weird about it, he would be kind of not love bombing, I don't think that's the right word, but like super over like compensating. I don't know, maybe I'm just a dumb fucking idiot, but like that's where my head first went. But like, yeah, the emailing and the applications, I feel like I sound like a girl who's justifying her boyfriend that's cheating on her. Like, I sound like the dumb fuck. But from what she's stating, I'm like, who knows? But also like multiple cross-reference things, like the apps, multiple apps, a subscription, an email, like that's a lot of things. And why would a hacker go on and be on Tinder and Hinge? Like, when you kind of zoom out, what fucking hacker would be on Tinder and Hinge? I'm sorry, I don't think any hacker is using somebody else's phone to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, all of that to say, I feel like it's super unbelievable that a hacker would go on and use his accounts for what reason. I would ask to see the bank statements. I would press just to like verify, because obviously if you've been with this person for 5 years and you've had no signs of cheating, you're not just going to up and walk away when you have no valid proof. But I would get the proof and then I would leave. That's what I would do. Okay, next. Oh, this one's kind of crazy. I, 28 male, am considering leaving my girlfriend, 29 female, after she catfished me as a prank. Me and my girlfriend have been together for 2 years. I always thought that she was very sweet and kind, and I really appreciate how much she loves me. And while she sometimes got a little jealous, I didn't think it was a big deal. Hell, maybe I even enjoyed being doted on like that. It made me feel really attractive, which I never really felt I was. I'm gonna just say something really quickly. I also feel that way. Like, jealousy is kind of hot. Jealousy is kind of like, oh, you really like me. Which I know is like a toxic way of thinking, and there are like lines, but as you guys know, me and Carter are sober queens, and we have never so much as been to like a bar out at night together, or honestly gotten drunk together. And I feel like in a bar setting is when that kind of shows, you know, jealousy, because there are people around, people looking at you, maybe people coming up to you, you're with a group of friends. And so I've never really seen Carter be jealous, because I've never given him a reason to be jealous, obviously. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there are levels to it. Like, if your boyfriend is Snapchatting other girls and you're pissed, like, that's not like jealousy that he's crossing a line and you have every right to be pissed. I'm talking like the simple, you know, like, I don't know, we're out and yeah, I speak to somebody and Carter's like, who was that? I'm like, ah! hot. I stand behind what he said. I can understand that, and I love that. A little jealousy is okay and normal. And like, I'm a jealous bitch. Yeah, if I saw Carter speaking to a girl, I'm slitting her fucking throat. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's healthy to an extent. Okay, recently we attended a work event organized by my company and we met one of my coworkers there. She works at a different branch and we hardly ever talk outside of work emails and calls, but we got along well enough. This event was my girlfriend's first and only time meeting this coworker. On the way back from the event and the following day, my girlfriend was acting a little weird. She kept asking me about my work wife and asking if I thought that coworker was pretty and other stuff about her. I knew that my girlfriend could get kind of jealous and I did my best to calm her down. No, that woman isn't my work wife and I don't follow her on any socials and I don't even have her personal phone number. I don't think she's more beautiful than my girlfriend and I am happy with my girlfriend, etc. And she seemed to relax a bit and things have gone back to normal. A few weeks later, out of nowhere, I get a follow request on Instagram from my coworker. I approved it, my account is private, and followed back, her account was also private. The account was almost nothing but a few pictures of her in swimsuits uploaded very recently. I haven't checked at the time and didn't really scroll her account at all, but it didn't look like anything overtly sexy, just normal vacation pictures, but there was nothing but vacation pictures. It did seem weird, but I didn't really care. Then a few days later, she DM'd me on Instagram. It was just some small talk and I replied, but it wasn't flirty or anything. She kept reaching out every few days and eventually it did seem to get kind of flirty. I told her that this felt inappropriate and I was in a relationship and I'd appreciate if we kept things professional, which she seemed okay with. Oh, fuck, knowing that this is the girlfriend behind the scenes. Okay, but that's crazy. Why would you only put, because in a not sane girl's mind who's like clearly trying to catfish their boyfriend, of course you're gonna put like vacation photos and like sexy like bikini photos, but that's also crazy. Like she found this girl, found only vacation photos, remade an account. Oh, but also that's so fucking risky. I understand she's at a different branch, but if they do have calls and talk to each other, like you're full on impersonating this girl and he's like literally having work calls with her. Oh my fucking God. Like that is insane. My girlfriend seemed extra affectionate the days after that. And while I didn't suspect anything in real time, you can all probably see exactly where this is going. Still, at the time I was happy and my girlfriend even seemed to be better regarding her jealousy. But then last week I got a follow recommendation on my Instagram. It was my coworker's account. Fuck. This one wasn't private and was just a normal Instagram account, and looking through it, that was where most of these swimsuit pictures came from. Here they were, just a part of her normal Instagram account, which contained mostly normal pics and not just swimsuit ones. I then put two and two together. Oh my gosh. Every crazy bitch out there is like, fuck, he got us. Which, like, listening to this story is like, no fuck. I mean, I guess I could see how on one hand you might think that you're gonna get away with it, but like you were able to find her public account. What makes you think that your boyfriend couldn't? Oh, this is where when women are being crazy and acting crazy, which I don't think is like a bad thing. I think it's okay to admit that we can be fucking crazy. It's similar to like when kids try and lie. It's like clear as day. It's like we're not thinking with our right brain when we're trying to be crazy. Like there are so many times in the past where like I was with a boyfriend that I shouldn't have been with and I bring up something that I was like insecure or jealous about, and the way I brought it up, I'm like, oh, this girl messaged me and told me. What fucking kind of lie is that? Like that was not believable in the slightest. That's exactly what this girl did. Like what were you thinking? Oh my gosh. Wait, also, I just looked up at the title. This girl is 29 years old. I wanted to double check because this is something maybe a high schooler would do. I don't know. She's 29 and he's 28. I love to stand up for women, but that's way too old to be acting like this. Okay, let's keep going. Before confronting my girlfriend, I talked to that coworker at work and asked for her Instagram account. She gave me her normal one, which I followed, and indeed she gave no indication that we ever interacted on Instagram before. So it became clear I was being catfished. I confronted my girlfriend then, and at first when I was trying to be subtle, she denied everything outright. Well, of course she's gonna deny. You're acting actually insane. You're being a crazy bitch. You have to deny. I don't fault her for that. I do fault her for what she's doing, but like, yeah, I would deny at first too. I would be so fucking embarrassed. That's crazy. Then she shifted to gaslighting me about it and saying that it was just a prank, or that it was just a test, or that because she was cheated on before, she just needed to know that she could trust me. I told her that her being able to trust me was great, but how am I supposed to trust her now? Yeah. Oh, this is not good. She said that made no sense and kept deflecting no matter how I tried to explain it to her, going so far as to question how I even knew it was her if I wasn't cheating on her with my coworker. Babes, just accept defeat. You have to just accept defeat. Oh gosh. Yeah, well, like, I don't agree with her at all, but if I were her in this instance, I would understand. Like, you're going to deny, you're going to try and deflect. It's normal human nature to like not want to own up to the crazy shit that you're doing. You know, like whenever I hear stories of men or women being crazy and then they lie or try and gaslight, which like it's so bad. And like, of course, if a man is like gaslighting a woman all the time, every time, but like when you're catching somebody doing something fucking crazy or in a lie, of course they're gonna fucking try and gaslight you. Like, that is just human nature. You're not gonna want to say, yeah, I did make this fucking profile with only bikini pics and messaged you, literally was talking to you via this account, and then was extra lovey afterwards when I found out that no, you indeed weren't gonna be flirty with this girl. No fuck. Okay, because who would want to admit to that? I told her that this was unfair and manipulative and that I needed some time and went home. She's been texting and calling ever since, saying that I'm ruining a great relationship over nothing, I'm overreacting, and that when I finally realize how much she loves me, it might be too late, and that it's not fair for me to throw everything we built over some skank. Wait, what? Girlfriend, it's not over a skank. It's over you impersonating that girl. Why are you calling her a skank? Oh yeah, she's like jealous to the 100th degree. She's crazy. And like, I'm not going to say break up with somebody over being crazy, but like doing that to you, yeah, I would never trust her. Like, oh, that's just like too crazy of behavior. There's crazy behavior that I'll allow, but like this is really insane. And then like trying to twist and gaslight to this extent, it has nothing to do with that girl. That poor girl has no idea. I always do wonder this, like how many, whether it was like an ex-partner and a new girlfriend, which like I don't care now, but like, or something like this where you've worked with somebody, or I think about guy friends that I have where they have a girlfriend and they're like, oh, did you guys ever hook up when we never have? Like, how many girls have ever like skewed a story about me, which it doesn't matter, and like pop the fuck off and like hate me all you want. I don't care, because I don't want the man that you're with. I've never wanted a past partner or like a friend, you know, but as women, like there are people in the past, you know, when like I knew that a boyfriend of mine had talked to a girl before, I'm like, oh, I fucking hate her, she's horrible. You know what I mean? Like, how many girls have done that about me? I love that. Honestly, do it, because you can never be too sure, you know what I'm saying? But that just feels incredibly manipulative to me, and like she doesn't get what she did wrong at all. So I'm conflicted between wanting to just cut and run and giving it another go. After all, we have been happy together for 2 years, but also, can trust be rebuilt after something like this? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that it can be, if I'm being 1000 fucking percent for real. It just is a little bit too immature for the age of 29 to be doing, in my opinion. And like, if you've given her no reason to trust you, not to trust you, You know what I'm saying? I understand that people who have been cheated on, who have been hurt and like, dealt with trust issues, it's hard. But like, again, there are reasonable amounts of like things to ask and say and question, but to go as far as creating an account over like a coworker again that you met, like, it's just all a little bit too crazy for me. And I would say maybe just dip out, because what in the future is she gonna do? She also kind of lied to some extent by like making that account, and like the reaction to it all, like trying to turn it on you. What in the future could you guys go through, and she's just gonna like blame you when she literally did this to herself? And calling that girl a skank, I feel like that kind of shows her character as well. The girl has never done anything. It's just a coworker. I think that girl, the girlfriend, is just deeply insecure, because you would never act like this over some girl. Like, to impersonate this person that you met and knew, and that your fiance, or they're not engaged, but your boyfriend works with on like a very professional level, that is just like a little bit too far. I think the girlfriend needs a lot of therapy if you are going to make it work, because I could understand if everything's been great and you love this person, they just have these issues from a lack of trust, from being cheated on, whatever. I'm not going to fault her for what happened in her past, but she needs to go to therapy. This has nothing to do with the man. This has absolutely nothing to do with the man, and especially nothing to do with the coworker. The girlfriend needs to go to therapy and work through her own trust issues. I think it could be rebuilt and be fine only if the girl goes to therapy. You know what I mean? If not, I feel like you've got to get the fuck out of there, because that is crazy behavior. Okay, next. Oh, I love this one. Okay. Am I the asshole for not wanting to sit down on Zoom with my boyfriend's brother, his fiance, and their therapist to talk it out? So here's some backstory. My boyfriend's brother is newly engaged. Before he got with his now fiance, I already knew him. He was with a different girl at the time, and I was already kind of close with the family. So when he got with this new girl, we weren't strangers, but I was still respectful. Apparently, this girl felt like I didn't acknowledge her the few times that we were all around each other, which I personally don't feel like is true. I'm naturally quiet no matter who I'm around. I'm not rude. I'm just not the type to be overly talkative or extra friendly when I first meet someone. Okay, that's totally fine. I did speak when we were around each other, but she told her fiance that I was being distant and cold, and then he told my boyfriend, who brought it up to me. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but I'll be more intentional next time. So the next time that I saw her, I purposely went out of my way to say hi and be warm. This girl literally ignored me, not just once, 3 separate times. One time at a family event, I got up to hug her and she literally hid behind her man to avoid saying hi to me. I was like, wow, okay. So clearly she's already made up her mind about me. Fast forward, they wanted to talk it out over the phone, but I wasn't ready for that because it already felt tense and awkward. They called anyway, and we ended up getting into a heated argument. After that, I told my boyfriend that I'll be cordial with her for the sake of family stuff, but I'm not trying to build a relationship or force anything fake. I tried and it didn't get me anywhere. Now, my boyfriend's brother wants to set up a Zoom meeting with me, his fiance, their therapist, and my boyfriend to resolve things. I told my boyfriend that I don't want to do it. Respectfully, no. I'm not doing therapy with people I'm not even close to, especially when I've already tried to meet her halfway and she wasn't open to it. He's saying stuff like, you know how important family is in our culture and that there are a lot of events coming up and we all need to get along. But I genuinely feel like I'm not being mean or disrespectful. I just don't want to force something. I'll say hi, be polite, and keep it moving. But I don't want to sit on Zoom and talk this out anymore. I tried. Now their mom is even involved, saying things like, I don't like this division. It's not good. She's upset because my boyfriend didn't say happy birthday to his brother's fiance, which for the record, I didn't tell him not to. I literally told him to do whatever you feel like doing. He just chose not to say anything. So now it's like all this pressure to fix something that's just not that deep to me. I also feel like if it has to go as far as therapy just to be cool with me, then it's not genuine. How hard is it to just shoot me a text? I'm very open. If she texted me, I would respond. I just feel like this whole thing is being blown out of proportion and doing way too much. So, am I the asshole for saying no to the Zoom therapy convo? Absolutely not. No, 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 no. Okay, are we hating the ballads? Absolutely not. That girl already decided that she didn't like you from the jump. And I bet, as again, an insecure girl, similar to the last story, which I hate to say, but like the colors just show that you were already a part of this family. You knew his previous girlfriend. You've been around, and she doesn't like that, I'm sure. And whether she probably already painted a picture that you're friends with the ex, or who freaking knows what story she's made up in your head, you have tried to be nice. I actually have firsthand experience in this exact almost situation, kind of different characters, of something that I've gone through recently with a girl who has had it out for me and wants everybody to appease her, and she feels this way and that way. No, nothing's been done to you. Nothing has happened. You can be cordial and kind without being friends. I'm under the belief system. This is similar to like parents who want their kids to get along. I understand wanting your kids to get along. Trust me, I do. Who would want their children not to get along, but forcing them? It's like, if two people don't get along, they don't get along. Like, I know so many families, like my parents and their siblings, that don't get along, that aren't best friends. It's fine. Why are you going to force people? And it's like, you can be cordial and nice and not be best friends, and that's okay. Like, we are all different human beings who have different interests and don't like people, but she already had it out for you. You didn't do anything to her at all. Not that you're saying in this story. She has already decided, and if they so much as want you to join their therapy session, God only knows what they've told this therapist. They could have said who knows what, and you're walking into this to their therapist for what? Like, you didn't even do anything. Why are you even being involved? Like, it's not that serious, especially if nothing has happened. She avoided you. She was cold to you. She was distant. She avoided your highs and hellos and hugs. She's the problem. And it's always these people that go to therapy and then try and weaponize it. Like, it's always the ones who are creating that. Not always. Okay, I obviously have hurt feelings over this, but it's like always those people that cry and whine about you not doing this and that, and they were nice to me and da-da-da. Nothing happened. I wasn't even mean to you. Like, how is this girl gonna say that when she's the one acting weird? And also, why do we need like therapy and everybody to be best friends? Number one, you guys could have been friends if that girl wouldn't have been mean to you in the first place. Like the girl saying that they need to go to therapy, the brother's girlfriend, fiance, whatever she's called. Absolutely not. Like, I don't get that at all. No, you are not the asshole, and don't go to fucking therapy for somebody else. They need to work through their issues. Like, therapy is a wonderful thing for you and your own issues, but I don't like when people trying to make others do it. Like, you're trying to make this girl go to therapy because you have an issue. How about you talk to your therapist and you work through your problems? You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make sense to me at all. And I think we all know a person like this. This is a tale as old as time. I talk to all of my besties. Like, we all know somebody who like plays the victim, and it's like, you are the problem. I'm sorry. That is my thoughts. Next. Okay, last story, but I had to include it because this is fucking insane. My fiance isn't invited to my best friend's wedding because his bride doesn't want people thinking that she's prettier than her. My 26 male, lifelong best friend, 26 male as well, is getting married later this year. When he first got engaged, he asked me to be one of his groomsmen. I obviously accepted, and I've been excited for the wedding and to see my best friend get married. His fiance, 26 female, and my fiance, 25 female, have always gotten along really well. The four of us hang out pretty frequently. We always have a great time, and there has never been any problems. My fiance has always considered her a friend and has been extremely happy for them and excited about their wedding as well. His fiance has even asked my fiance for her thoughts and suggestions on certain decor for the wedding, venues, colors, things like that. The official wedding invitations were sent out recently, and when it arrived to our house, I noticed it was only addressed to me and also didn't say anything about a +1. I was kind of surprised by this because I had been assuming that my fiance would have been invited, given the fact that I have been with my fiance for 4 years, longer than he has been with his fiance. He has been my best friend since preschool. The four of us hang out all the time, and some of my family members received invitations to the wedding as well. But before jumping to conclusions, I thought maybe none of the groomsmen or other friends of the bride and groom are allowed to have a +1 due to costs or things like that, since weddings are obviously expensive. The other groomsmen are all friends of mine and his, so I called them to see if their significant others were also not invited. Turns out every single one of them received an invitation that included their significant other, and the bridesmaids all get to bring their significant others as well. So at that point, I called him to let him know that I got my invitation, but that my fiance was not included on the invitation, and I asked if there was just an error or they forgot to include her on it. That's when he informed me that his fiance doesn't want my fiance coming to the wedding because she doesn't want all of the guests thinking that my fiance is prettier than her. Honestly, goals. Honestly, I kind of hope that happens to me. But also think about all the other +1s and all the other girls that are +1s. Like, what, you're calling them ugly? Oh my gosh. I mean, obviously it's so fucked up and cruel and weird, and like insecurity is seething through the paper, but like, what the fuck are we talking about? But also on the other hand, oh, what a compliment. Like, honestly, I might be okay with that. It will obviously strain the relationship there and after, because like nobody wants to feel that way, but like in one little sliver of a moment, I would be like, oh, okay, that's fine. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, I will say my fiance is insanely gorgeous. If I had a penny every time someone asked me how I managed to get her, I would be a billionaire. Oh my gosh, I love that. On the other hand, his fiance isn't the most conventionally attractive woman. I feel bad saying that, and it's something I have never said out loud to anyone, but for the context of the situation, I wanted to include that here. I told him that I know it's not my wedding, so I don't get to pick the guest list, but I think it's a bit unfair and ridiculous that my fiance, who they're friends with, is the only significant other of the whole entire wedding party that doesn't get to come to the wedding because his fiance is worried people will think that she's prettier than her. I told him that his fiance is the bride, so everyone is going to be looking at her and no one is going to be focusing on my fiance, who isn't even a bridesmaid, so she's not even going to be standing up in front of everyone. Instead, he said that he agrees with me and that he has already tried multiple times to explain this to his fiance, but that she won't budge and is insistent that everyone will think my fiance is prettier. So I ended up telling him that I cannot be a groomsman or attend the wedding then, because in my eyes, it's not fair to my fiance for me to attend or be in the wedding where she is the only significant other not invited due to the bride's own insecurities. He's upset with me now and thinks I'm overreacting, but I just don't think this is fair. My fiance told me not to worry about her and that I should be a part of my best friend's big day, but even with my fiance being completely fine with me going, I honestly don't want to be around the bride. Yes! King. That is a loyal, wonderful fucking partner, and I love him for it, because yeah, what the fuck? And like, How are you getting married and you're insecure? Like, please. That's crazy. We have to stop. No, 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 no. Yeah, he's not overreacting. And that is what a good partner should do, because you support your partner. And she's been a fiance longer than she has. Not a fiance, but they've been longer together longer. Hello? Yikes. That's actually like, it feels like fake that would happen. I'm sorry, we have to stop. But I also do understand on one hand, like, it's her own wedding. So if she really feels that way, I would also, if I felt that way and was insecure, yeah, it's your wedding. You can say who can come and who can't. But also, what a fucking slap in the face to everybody else. Like, she thinks that she's prettier than the rest of you, because you wouldn't be here if she thought that you were prettier. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, what do you do? I mean, the unfortunate thing is that either the husband of the couple that has the wedding will convince his fiance to let her come because he wants his best friend, to be a groomsman. But this just fucked the whole relationship. You guys aren't friends anymore. There's no way you're going to come back from that. And props to the girl. Again, she's probably like, oh, I'm pretty, like I said, but props to her for being so kind and nice and saying he should still go. And I would do that too, because like, if that was your very best friend, but also Carter would never, like, he'd be like, what the actual fuck? But that would ruin your friendship forever. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, I think he did the right thing. But also, that friendship is toast. And even if they come back on it and say she can come, I wouldn't want to go. Like, that's fucking weird. You didn't invite me in the first place and now you are, just because. Nope. No, I'm sorry, but isn't that fucking crazy? I love it. I love shit like this. Okay, you guys, thank you for being here. As always, like I said at the beginning, please leave your stories below. That way I can use them. Crazy stories only. I want to hear the fucking juiciest shit you've ever seen or heard or been a part of. But that's it. I hope you guys have a great week. As always, thank you. I just said for being here. I appreciate you guys the most. And I will see you guys on Friday. Okay, bye guys.